Good morning. Welcome to this video. I'm going to talk a bit about my recent trip. I'm back. I'm actually back here now in New Zealand. I'm going to just talk about a few little bits and pieces. It's going to be a bit of a ramble video. There is a tarot deck in it, and there is a bit of my journal, though mainly it's catching up and lots of vegan food. And if you're new here, my name's Bobby. This is my channel, Ragged Poet, and I talk about books, tarot, journaling, life, just about loads of different stuff. There is a tarot deck in this video, but it's not a new one. I didn't get any tarot decks when I was away, but I did retrieve one that I left there before COVID, and I'll show you that because I really like it. Unfortunately, I don't think it's in print anymore. If this video feels like it was made in two parts, that's because it was. I made the video on Sunday, I think it was. I'm still jet lagged. I mean, I've been back over a week, but it's a hell of a long flight, a long journey. So I'm back. It was an amazing trip. It was a challenging trip. So on Sunday, I made a whole video, but for some reason, only half of the video recorded. And I have no idea how or why that happened. I don't remember turning the camera on or off at any point, but somehow the first half of the video disappeared. So I'm now found the energy to do it again, but it may look a little bit different, light and whatever, but there we go. That's it, that's life. So the trip was amazing. It was challenging, it was fun. I pushed my boundaries to their limit. I'm still I really do want to create my other channel where I talk more about autism and living with being this other kind of person, everything, because that really came to the front on the trip. When you're in your own comfort zone and you think you're recovering and you're doing well, that's one thing, but oh my God, was all that tested? But that's another video, another story. I don't even know if I showed you the journals I've been using this year. I've got some old photos in here. Oh, look. That was me with my little baby, who's now 33. That was at my sister's house. We still lived in England then. And I was very pregnant with my second child because I know that was my wedding dress I'm wearing. And I know that it was a big bump dress because I was 7.5 months pregnant when I got married. And another one, another picture of when I was very young here. I was at school with I used to support Liverpool, if I can get this picture out, in my little Liverpool supporters scarf. I was a real little tomboy. Anyway, I found those. So this is my Hobonichi cousin. I think I might have said in another video, I went back to the cousin this year instead of the avec. I got this cover. It's on the Hobonichi website, and it's got a moon on the back. I'll put the details in when I find it. There's another picture in here. Hang on. Oh, that was another picture of me. My goodness. I would have been 20, I think I was about 28 or 29 there. You look quite young, but that was at my mum's house one Christmas. More pictures. Right, so I'll put those away. So yeah, I've been using the Hobonichi cousin. I took way too many journals with me. I took all my journals with me because I have to. They're kind of like a security blanket. So I had my mental health well-being journal. I had my tarot journal. This one was my main journal, and then I had my general weeks, just get everything in it journal. You don't get a lot of luggage, so they take up a lot of space. I mean, I try to journal, I did a bit, but mainly when I'm traveling, I often stick a lot of things in that I find are just like bits of receipts and Simon Howie, vegan haggis. So we did a lot of vegan food hunting. And then, anyway, so that's there. So we left the first week of January, I think. The first leg of the trip up to Auckland was fine. Auckland was good. We went up to Northland and stayed a night with my daughter's partner's family. Went to an amazing chocolate place. Then we drove back down to Auckland to the airport to fly to Vancouver, and all was fine. The flight to Vancouver was delayed by, an hour or two, and due to some mechanical issue, and then we did finally take off. But we'd been flying for about 40 minutes. The intercom was really bad. It was really, really, you could not hear it at all. I mean, I have audio processing disorder, but even given that, you couldn't hear anything. Even my daughters and them couldn't hear it. It was very crackling. So there were these announcements, but people didn't really know what was going on. And we were sitting right behind the wing of the plane. And I looked out and I thought, uh-oh. I saw, because I've seen this before. I said to my daughter next to me, I said, look, we're going to be going back. And she said, how did you know? I said, they're dumping the fuel. I could see all this fuel being pumped out into the atmosphere. 30,000 gallons of fuel was come zooming out. I'll put a little video in here, a little clip of that. We'd been flying, I think, said 30, 40 minutes. Anyway, we returned. We did a little roundabout route. You know, you watch the map on the back of your seat, and ended up back in Auckland. Then we had no idea what was going on. We just went into this arrival lounge because we'd left the country. We were in no man's land. And then we waited, and after a couple of hours, they told us that we had to re-enter the country, reclaim our baggage, our flight was cancelled. That was it. That was all we knew. So there's all these people, a whole plane, jumbo jet load of people milling around, wanting to know where they were going and what was happening. It was crazy. So we had to reclaim our luggage. We were then told that we'd been rebooked on a flight via Air New Zealand through Hawaii and then Vancouver for that at 6 o'clock. Well, it was already 5:30 or something. We went to Air New Zealand. They said, no, you're not booked on the flight, but even if you were, you couldn't go because our ESTA visa was for Canada and not the USA. Anyway, we got told a lot of things that were wrong. But in a nutshell, we spent 8 hours in this dog-eat-dog, unmanaged, horrible queue at Auckland Airport waiting to be sorted out. But 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever it was, we ended up being put in a hotel in Auckland. Still had no idea when we were going to fly to Vancouver. We had accommodation, we had a hire car, everything booked in Vancouver. It was a bit of a pain, but the good things about it were the hotel was nice. It was good after the sensory overload of the airport and everything going wrong and the stress and everyone being grumpy and tempers fray. It's a huge thing to put those people through, and that did not have to happen. There are a lot of things. There should be a contingency plan in place if this does happen. But I was really happy that we got back safely. I have a terrible fear of flying, but when all that happened and I was actually on the plane, it was happening. It was just, I guess, adrenaline kicks in. I wasn't afraid at all. We got back safely. The pilot made a good call. Maybe the plane should never have taken off in the first place, but we got home. We got back on land safely, and that was great. But as I said, after the horribleness of the queuing for hours on end, and the hotel was nice, it was good to get that break. Then another half the night on the phone to Air Canada and Air New Zealand, and finally sorted out we were going on a flight the following day, or by then it was the same day, that evening, via Air New Zealand to Vancouver. The flight to Vancouver was amazing. Everything went without a hitch. It was brilliant. And then we got to Vancouver. My dream come true. I'm in Canada, amazing. So chilled out. It didn't feel like a city at all to me. Not really like an intense, busy city. They didn't have that feeling. It felt how I felt Canada would feel. It felt very chilled out. We couldn't get our hire car. That was another problem. None of us have credit cards. We all have debit cards, and they won't hire you a car unless you have a credit card. So that was something we learned. We did get one in the end, but we couldn't get one for the whole week like we'd planned. So that was it. We were in Vancouver and we found amazing vegan food, and we went to Whistler and Squamish, and we went to the snow and it was wonderful, really. And I really loved Vancouver. I loved Vancouver. We saw like amazing stuff, you know. We saw the things you see in the picture, the big science museum thing, and the skyline, and looked across and saw Mount Rainier. And I said we went to the snow and we stood above we were in downtown Vancouver where we stayed. The apartment was another bit of a challenge. Half the electrics blew up. So half the apartment wasn't wired, wasn't working. But it was a lovely place. We stayed in Yaletown. That was nice. And there was, I said, lots of vegan places close by, and we got our compass cards and went on the trammy, bussy things, and we ended up in East Hastings at one point looking for our vegan place, and that was pretty sad. There's a lot of massive poverty, huge poverty, which really makes you feel blessed. And like the drug addiction, it's hard, it's harsh, and it's hard to see. And you know, someone like me, you feel so guilty. You just have this huge guilt. I don't know how people manage to confront that every day, because I know it's there and I do what I can to help via food banks and things, but it's difficult. And you really feel, oh my goodness, I am so freaking blessed. And you know, we need to see this now and again. It's not good because I don't want to see it happening at all, but we do need to be reminded how bloody lucky we are, whatever we go through. But yeah, Vancouver was wonderful. And then we flew without a hitch pretty much to London. My sister met us. I hadn't seen my sister since before COVID, and that was amazing. See them again. And then they live on the Isle of Sheppey. We went to Sheppey, recovered for a few days, and we did this huge road trip, which was probably the biggest challenge of the trip. And it was amazing. We pretty went up right up to the Scots Highlands, and we went up to Inverness because my mum's side of my family are all from the Highlands, and from Westeros right up, and they go way back. We looked at the family tree. We wanted to go to Solace, which is the island in the Hebrides where our ancestors were from, and it's not even going that far back really, but the weather wasn't, we went to Skye, but the weather, there was a ferry, but the weather was too bad for that. Well, bad, good for me. We had cold weather, had snow, had -6, -9, it was wonderful. And that's what I wanted. And the road, on the travelling, apart from a couple of days, we did pretty well. We didn't have much rain. One day we had a bit of snow and sleet on the road, but it wasn't too bad. So the road trip, again, it was challenging. I'll talk more about that, but it was one of those things, you know, there's 4 people in a car, little car, sensory overload. The car was one of those modern beeping cars that beeps at you every 2 seconds. The GPS was not great. I saved us a few times when it had got us lost. But no, it was wonderful. We went up to Cumbria, stayed in Kendal, had a wonderful vegan meal at a little pub. Discovered later that there was a vegan bed and breakfast in Kendal, which I wish I'd known about, but we didn't. Next time. But found a lovely cafe, just like an old-fashioned tea shop. It was called Garden Cafe, and the lady who ran it, Nikki, was really good, lovely. We were like soulmates, you know, talking to them, and it was just all vegan. It was like going into a little tea shop when I was a kid, an old-fashioned English tea shop, but everything was vegan. It was like a dream. I felt like, I said to the owner, I feel like I manifested this place from my dreams. It was just amazing. Like, you see everything and it's all vegan. It's kind of, you can't believe it. This country is very hard for vegan. In New Zealand, it's not easy. It's a lot easier than it was when I first came here, but it's not easy. But when you go there, and like Vancouver, everything is so vegan friendly. They're really switched on. And to find a whole cafe, you made an old-fashioned English tea shop, and everything, all the cakes that look amazing that are normally just never vegan, are all vegan. It was just mind-blowing. Wonderful. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, the Garden Cafe in Kendal. If you're ever in Kendal, it's near the Quaker Meeting House. It's in the yard where the Quaker Meeting House is. That was fantastic. So then Glasgow, another amazing meal there, Taddies and Neeps, and then Skye, then Inverness. We had a little apartment in Skye. That was a bit iffy, but it was fine. And then Inverness was great. We scattered Mum's ashes in Inverness. It was an island in the River Ness, in the middle of the river, with a woodland garden, and I didn't forward to it at all. You know, it's a hard thing to do, and I mean, my mum passed the last time I went to the UK, which was 2019, just before COVID, and I was going to move back, but I don't know, that morning, that day, it was one of those days when everything came together, you know, like I woke up and I was thinking, oh, where are we going to do? We hadn't totally decided, and then I found the island by the River Ness, like near the loch and the head of the river. My mum wasn't a big fan of water. Being by it was fine, but not in it, so we mainly scattered it around the woodland. It was great. We did a little ceremony, and it was wonderful. That went really well. And then from Inverness, we stopped in Perth, where I went to try and find the vegan haggis that I first found there over 30 years ago. They didn't have it. All of the vegan haggis, McSween's vegan haggis, which is my favourite one, and it was the first one I ever came across. As I said, 30 years ago I first bought it there. Was sold out because of Burns Night, because it had just been Burns Night at the end of January. So I did bring some back, which I'll talk about later. So yeah, it was, and then from Edinburgh we went to Berwick, and then we went to Holy Island, to Lindisfarne, which is a famous centre of Christianity, apparently where Christianity first was founded in the north of England by, I think, St Aidan, an Irish monk. And then St Cuthbert came along, and St Cuthbert was a saint. St Cuthbert started a cult, I think, because they found his body 11 years after he died, and it was completely like no sign of having been dead and totally uncorrupted. And the Lindisfarne Gospels were written there. They did a lot of art, so that was a place of teaching and art and Christianity, and more kind of Celtic Christianity, I guess. And it was also the place where the Vikings first came and raided, and then from then on it went, down and down. And the priory got destroyed. But we did go there. I went there, it was -9 the day we went there. They had a power cut. It was very bleak, and I loved it. I stood up on the headland, and I had to put stones in my pockets because I'm only a little thing. I didn't want to get blown away, but I couldn't get too close to the edge. So I did take a little video of that, but it was so cold my camera stopped working. So I didn't get all the footage I wanted, but I did get some, and I'll put clips in. And then the last leg of the trip was Manchester. My sister, I did not want to do all these city stops really, because I'm not much of a city person. And they kept saying, oh yeah, Manchester's got amazing vegan food, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, they kept saying all these things. In the end, I kept pushing against this because I knew it was going to be overload, I knew that it was going to be too much. It was like 8 days and 9 days and 8 nights, and it was going to be huge for me to deal with. So in the end, they had to admit that my sister had bought me, for a belated Christmas present, a tour of Coronation Street where you get to meet the stars in Manchester. Now, I got addicted to Coronation Street when I first got diagnosed with my burnout 2 years ago. I'd never watched a soap or TV before that ever. I still don't watch TV, I kind of stream it, but it was crazy. I just watched a couple of episodes randomly while I was in between watching something on YouTube, and I got addicted to it. It was like a big hug from home. Anyway, that didn't happen because on the M6 or the M62, when we were heading from Rochdale, where we stayed, to Manchester, we got a puncture. And the AA came because we had a hire car. We got the AA and then took us to a quick fit place who said they couldn't do the exhaust until the following day. And I did sort it out, so we got it done that day because we were driving back to Kent that day. But by the time we left the exhaust place, it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and that was it. So we just pretty much got some food and then drove home. And it was good. I mean, I would have loved to have done the Corrie thing, but it didn't happen. There'll be a reason, It was the thought, and by then I just wanted to get home, and we did, and it was great. So yeah, and then my sister and I chilled a bit, and then we came back. It was such a whirlwind tour. I mean, the 6 weeks, it was just under 6 weeks, I think. It was manic. It was really crazy. But I did it, and I'm very proud that I did do it, and that I coped, and I managed to get back in one piece, because I did have a meltdown at one point when I thought I couldn't take any more. That was on Sky. Not a crazy loud meltdown, a quiet meltdown. But I did it. So the deck I found over there was this one. It's called the Visionary Tarot. And I got it on Kickstarter. It came out in 2018, and it arrived, I think, the day I left for England. It was the end of the year. So I took it with me, and then I did make a video about it in England. It was by somebody called Addison James, and I kept thinking about this deck, and I had to, for some reason, stuff I left at my sister's that should have been inside ended up in an outside, like, storage thing, and it got a bit damp in that. But it's okay, I cleaned it all up and put it in a bag of baking soda and with a kitchen roll and essential oil, and it came out well. But I really like this deck. They did release a second edition, I found out, a gold edition, but I like this one. And it's got some pretty cool cards. Some different. None of the art is taught. I wish I could find more about the artwork and why, because it's not discussed in the book. The book's very basic Rider-Waite meanings. It is a Rider-Waite based deck, but there's some really interesting interpretations, like the Fool. Now, I think that's an oil rig on there. I think it's supposed to be an oil rig, which, yeah, you can see how that's a different concept of the Fool. I mean, it is a foolish, like destroying the planet. I mean, it could be, not be, it might be something else, but I think it looks like an oil rig to me. It might be one of those floating navigational devices, but I think the 2CF, I think the CF is the centre of flotation. So, and it looks a bit like an oil rig. I don't think it's a lighthouse because it's floating. You can see it's floating. So, and then you've got, the suits are different. You've got arrows for swords, branches for wands, and it's all based on like navigation and like the sea and the stars. This one reminds me of a place in Nelson, actually, a cafe. So you've got the 7 of wands, the 7 of branches, and holding back the storm, and the star. So it's all water and star based pretty much. So you've got vessels for cups, arrows for swords, branches for wands, and stones for pentacles. And there's a lot of divers in the artwork, and there's a few cards that that stood out. Like, I'll have to look at it again. I don't want to make this video too long. I'll just show you it quickly. But I mean, one of the cards I really like is the Cancer the Crab card. Some of them I had. There's a lighthouse, the tower, which is sort of, I guess, you know, that's a very peaceful tower, isn't it? That's one of the things that struck me. It's very, it's not like a normal tower card. It's like, I don't like that word normal, but it's, I mean, if you miss the lighthouse, it's more like the change of direction that the tower causes, if you think, you know, or guiding you. So it's a different, I like this different take on the tower. And then we've got the moon and all the moon phases and some constellations. Strength is interesting. Now, I still am not sure if this was a mistake, because the strength card can be 8 or 11. They change it, different decks, but this is Cancer the Crab and the constellation for Cancer, which is number 7, card number 7. So unless they were counting the Fool as card number 1, I'm not quite sure how this came about. But again, I kind of like it. I'm a Cancerian and I'm bloody strong. I have to be very strong, and those crab pinchers are very strong. So yeah, whether it's, you know, I don't know, but I like it. It's a bit offbeat. And the 2 of stones, I mean, that's pretty interesting. Because the 2 of pentacles is usually that kind of balance, and you've got this big divide. So it's got some really interesting cards, you know. I'm quite a fan. So yeah, now I've got to the point where I started recording the video, part of the video that did record. I like the Hermit with the guiding light on the boat, and the 8 of Swords. We've got the compass for that one. So yeah, there's a different take on these cards. There's another one I kind of like. I'm not sure if I talked about it in the other half of the video yet or not, because it was a 5 of Pentacles, which is one of my favourite cards. It's one of the cards, like the Tower and the 5 of Pentacles are all cards I look at. This one, so the 5 of Stones. And usually this is the outsider card with the people in the snow and the church window and everything. And when I first saw it, I was trying to relate, but then I thought, well, hang on, how does it relate to being an outsider? And so, but you got the hand, and you got these 5 stones, gems, but they're not quite in the hand. And it kind of, so I thought about it, maybe it's like, that's the comfort, like symbolised by the church window, or the warm house, or whatever's in the background in the traditional card. And they're there, but they're a little bit out of reach. So these fingers are groping blindly at that time. So that's my interpretation of that. And now we'll carry on with the part of the video that I recorded before. When I start talking about what we brought back, we had to bring back a whole suitcase of treats and chocolates and things for my daughter and the grandchildren who live with me. And that was challenging, getting a load of chocolate and vegan treats packed into a suitcase. But it's cheaper than posting them. So, see you in the next half. Thank you for watching. I've got lots of other things to talk about, but as I said, this video is getting way too long now. I had to bring back lots of chocolate for my youngest daughter and my grandchildren, because the vegan food, as I said, is insane. I didn't get all the chocolate I wanted. There was this broccoli chocolate in Vancouver, and I was going to get it, but my daughter bought some. I thought I'll just try a little bit and see if we like it before I buy it, but then she didn't open it, and we still haven't tried it. So this is the Visionary Tarot by Addison James, and I really like it, and I'm really glad I brought it back with me, and I've been like thinking about it and waiting to get it back in my mitts for, well, so 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 20, nearly 7 years. Pretty much exactly the same. Last time I went back to England, I hadn't been back for almost 7 years, and it was exactly the same time period this time, which was not planned and kind of crazy, really. But so, chocolate. Chocolate, where's my bag of goodies? I'll show you some of the chocolates I got, the vegan, all vegan chocolate. The other thing that I absolutely adore is vegan haggis. And I bought back 4 different vegan haggises but the one I really wanted, oh no, only three different ones. I bought back 5 haggises altogether, but only 3 different ones. I couldn't get the McSween's one because it was just after Burns night and they'd sold out everywhere, which was a bit sad. So I didn't get my McSween's vegan haggis, which I really love, but I got a Marks and Spencer's one, which is in the freezer, so I can't show you that. And I got another one, I've forgotten the name of, but that was really good. We had that. That was kind of quite spicy. The Marks and Spencer's one was pretty much just exactly how I remember McSween's one. But the other one, I can't remember the make. I'll find out and tell you. And then it was a guy's name. They do normal haggis as well, like McSween's. And then the other one, the last one I got was, I bought it here to show you, but I can't find it anywhere. Let's see if I can find it. Well, I'm blowed. I don't know where I could have put it because I had it. I had the haggis. Okay, I'm going to have to go on a mission to find the haggis. Okay, I found the haggis. This is vegetarian haggis, traditional haggis in a skin made with the finest ingredients. I got this on Sky, Stably Quality Foods. It says vegetarian, but it's actually vegan. So I haven't tried this one before. They also make non-vegan haggis, but the other ones that I got are vacuum packed in kind of like, you know, plastic. And you're allowed to bring them on the plane. All the years I've been going, I never knew you could bring them back. But I got this like cool bag thing from good old Morrison's. Oh, Morrison's, I'm in love with their breakfasts. They do amazing vegan breakfast. So this one's in a tin. I had no trouble with biosecurity. New Zealand biosecurity is really strict. I had no trouble getting things through, which was great. More concerned about mud on gumboots. Oh, gumboots. Oh, I did have a scary experience. I think I'll leave that for another video. When I nearly died. I got stuck in quicksand. That was absolutely terrifying. So we'll move the haggis over there because I need to show you the chocolate now. So talking of haggis, I got on Sky some dark chocolate and haggis spice. Chocolates of Glen Shiel, and these are all vegan. So here's a cute wrapper. Look at the little bagpipes. I love packaging. That one. And that's other chocolate. So we went to the other one I got was dark chocolate with Sky and Sky sea salt. Amazing, again, amazing. But yeah, I put all the chocolate because sometimes when you get chocolate from England, it goes in the hold. It gets that white thing because it gets hot and then cold. And so what I did is I put it all in a cool bag and I put an ice pack in it, and it's fine. I haven't found any white chocolate yet. So we went to Kendal, one of our trips, and had the most amazing vegan breakfast in Kendal. And afterwards, my sister had booked Premier Inns for a lot of the trip, but we found there was an amazing vegan B&B in Kendal. Now I want to go back and go there. But I got good old Kendal mint cake, which I have eaten some, but I brought some back with me. If you don't know about Kendal mint cake, it's like dark chocolate with like a peppermint fondant, but it's a hard like centre, and it's amazing. I got Kendal mint cake creams, which I've been eating. I've got another packet of those. What else have we got in here? There's this company called Buttermilk, and they make delicious vegan chocolate. This is like if you know what a Kit Kat is, it's like a chocolate wafer bar. These were hard to find. I only got 2 and I ate one and bought one back, but I really, really love those. There's nothing like it. I mean, New Zealand is a vegan desert. These are Marks and Spencer's vegan chocolate buttons. Opened. The other thing Buttermilk do is like it's a bit like a Milky Way or a Mars bar, if you know what one of them is. I can't remember what they call them in America. And it's a caramel, like nougat, I say nugget, chocolate bar. I got a load of those mini ones. I bought some back for the kids as well, like they weren't all for me. Well, they got loads, they got a whole suitcase full nearly. I found these Mummy Meegs little chocolate like Smarty things, they're all vegan. Obviously everything's vegan. Nomu. But you can get these in New Zealand in very expensive little packets, but this was a Nomo, no missing out. Caramel, plant powered, and it's just like caramel chocolate. It's amazing. They make the best caramel chocolate, that brand. Another Buttermilk. This is like like what used to be called Toffee Crisp in England, if you remember those. Look at all this chocolate. I mean, it's got to last. And then I got, a space bar. That's made by Break Free Candy. And I think that's going to be a bit like a Milky Way. If you know what a Milky Way is. Haven't eaten that yet. And in Canada, I got the Otherly chocolate. So, because I really look at the packaging, that's actually quite a mini bar. You know, it's like a little mini bar. These are small, so it's like a little mini one. But I love that brand, Otherly. And I also got this one, which is to share it with my youngest daughter, birthday cake oat milk chocolate. And again, look at the wrapper, it's just lovely. But I love Otherly because I am other, and it clearly says vegan. So there, what a load of blooming chocolate. I have been eating it, gotta say. Found these really cool slimline cool packs, which are brilliant, because ours ones were no longer safe to go on the plane. We had some really old blue ones with the metal tops. So yeah, a load of chocolate. Pretty much what I brought back with me. I did get 4 t-shirts in op shops, and they were awesome. One's way, way too big for me, like it's gigantic. And unfortunately it's cropped, but so I just kind of have to wear it over another t-shirt. But I mean, it would be great as a nightshirt or a really big baggy long t-shirt, but because it's cropped, it only comes to my waist, and because it's so big, it looks ridiculous. But it says on it, I haven't been to the moon, and I just really, really like it. And the label was a bee, and it had this really cool logo. I'll show you that in another video. I brought back some amazing rocks I found at this fossil beach where I nearly died in the quicksand. I'll do that in another video and talk about the quicksand story. And yeah, I'll show my t-shirts. I got one book, which is a book I've read years ago called The Tao of Pooh and the Day of Piglet, by Benjamin Hoff, and I really love that book. I lost my original copy, so I'm reading that again. Highly recommend it. Now my throat's really sore, but it's good to be back. It was a brilliant trip. There's so much, I said so many different feelings and thoughts I want to talk about and share. And I've missed making videos. It seems like forever. I took ages to make this one this morning because I couldn't find anything. I couldn't remember how it all went together, how it worked. I planned to do more vlogging when I was away. I did some, I'll share it. I was going to put stuff on Instagram, but it was just so intense. There was just no time. There was no downtime, really. But yeah. Thank you for watching. I'll make another video very, very soon. Now I've got things set up again and talk about the rest of the trip. I hope you weren't too bored. Bye.